First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT. You found us at postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast app you are using. And of course,
we are live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, Postmarks. How are we doing?
Hello, Postmarks. Hello, NXT friends. It is Tuesday night, and we are here to talk about NXT, as we always are here to do on Tuesday nights.
Yes, apart from last week.
That's right. We're still recovering.
We sound better than last week, I think. I listened back to the beginning of our show and was like, oh boy.
That was the most rough we've ever been.
That was pretty rough.
Yeah.
But fun times.
Yes, it was. We are here. We are Braden and Davie. This is upNXT. You can find lots of our other stuff by searching Poisonrana in your podcast app or social media preferred app, and give us a little follow there, because this past weekend was all out. We went all out on Sunday and chatted all about plastic bags, syringes, lots and lots of crazy stuff in one evil show from the weekend that we both really loved. So definitely check out our thoughts on that from this week, because we had a lot of fun chatting about violence.
Oh, yeah.
Just
evil. What violence. A great combo of two pay-per-views, all in and all out. Like, complete polar opposite of shows.
Yeah.
But really love both.
All in is classic Spider-Man, and all out was the symbiote suit.
Yeah.
if you're putting it in weird perspectives. But so we had a fun time chatting all about that. So we do lots and lots of other podcasts. So definitely give us a shout on all the other platforms, because we do sure love to talk about wrestling. But we are your NXT friends, and it's a great time for NXT, because we are moving into the CW, at least for you Americans. For us, it kind of stays the same for a little bit, and then we get Netflix.
But I think we're definitely going to feel a change. You know, we've had the announcement Raw's moving to 2 hours for at least the rest of the year on USA. I'd be interested to see when it goes to Netflix. I could kind of see it kind of fluctuating in times. Like, I don't know if they'll have as hard an out, because there's no programming to go after it on Netflix, you know? So I think that's interesting. You see that with, you know, their dramas, Stranger Things and things like that. Some episodes are 42 minutes, some are an hour and 18. So I wonder what's going to happen once it moves to Netflix. But I think it's interesting going back to 2 hours. And I think a lot of people are going to be quite happy about that.
Boy, I listened to John Away because I just had to after hearing the news. And like, I've known those guys for a long time. Never seen their smiles at large since forever. You know, John Pollock poured up a nice old Jopo after Raw on Monday.
It's interesting though,
celebrate.
Because I do think, they're in a unique position. So are we. Not everyone watching this show are then sitting down for 2 hours talking about the show.
Right.
Turn it off and go to bed, or put on another show or whatever. I do think recently Raw has finally kind of got to grips with what to do with the 3 hours.
Right.
And, you know, they've been having longer matches. I thought last night's show had 2 really good matches on it in the bookending the show, and allowing more times for different stories to develop. And I think that's where SmackDown has suffered recently. I don't think SmackDown's been quite as good. So Raw now, having kind of had that luxury and kind of finally solving the 3 hour problem, I'd say, in this Triple H era, now squeezing back into 2. I wonder if there's going to be like teething problems with that or whatever. I think it's just full stop crazy cool that WWE's going to Netflix. Like, it's such a like modern day crazy move. And I think it's going to pay off real big for them. Just talking to people, whether you're American, Canadian, it seems like Netflix is the universal still number one kind of streaming platform for movies and all that stuff. And then, you know,
dancing with live programming and the combo with WWE, I think it's just gonna help get more people watching wrestling, and that's just what like media is today with TV and everything. So it's a smart move. There's some reports and people going off on the dirt sheets about maybe AEW has a similar fate when it comes to like streaming services. Maybe they'll be attached to whether it's Max, whether it's Tubi.
Yeah.
Which I've only just started, like during the pandemic is when I found out, and I used it for like weird, like Japanese horror movies, and I forgot about it. And it wasn't until recently I learned that the app is free on your phone, and it's pretty good.
There's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Have you used Pluto as well?
No, actually, I haven't.
Pluto's great. They've got like,
is that it's Canada only? Must be.
It might be, but again, you can get the app on your phone and just cast it. But they've got like 24-hour South Park channels, Comedy Central channels. Like they've got all these different channels on there, which kind of like the 24-hour ones we've had before. It's pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely feel this week is WWE week with everything being under one roof on the USA Network. I definitely felt today's NXT, yes, it's still kind of the presentation, but now they're really gearing up for that CW debut, and we've got a lot announced from this show for that debut. I imagine we're going to have, obviously it's going to be a different look for night one because it's going to be in a big arena, not the studio. I would imagine, new logo. I'd imagine new theme song. Like I think there's going to be a lot of changes. We'll see. And I'm kind of excited to see what it's going to look like. Yeah,
absolutely. It's pretty. Just so happy for John Away to go at least for now for 2 hours. I think it would be better if it was 2 hours, but again, you're on Netflix. You're allowed to, like, say you announce one big match, then like let it go long.
If you're doing a huge match like that Netflix debut, they're gonna obviously have something huge for that first night. Some weeks you can do 2 hours. Some weeks you can go to 2 hours 20 if you want. You can go commercial free. I still don't quite know what they're going to do commercial wise on Netflix. It's interesting. I'm really excited to see how it looks, and just being able to have everything on Netflix is going to be so easy for us.
For us Canadians, wow, having wrestling WWE full stop on Netflix is really like that makes me want to watch more of it. I don't know. It sounds great. So I know it's different with the States with what. So SmackDown is going to be on USA, but everything else, or no, sorry, then NXT on CW, and then Raw on Netflix is the only thing, and then the pay-per-views.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
LEs. So wow, pretty cool stuff.
We're gonna have it good. The rest of the world.
Yeah.
Just
use your VPNs.
Netflix. Yeah.
Switch to Canada, baby.
US,
Canada, eh? See what it's all about.
Yeah.
To be a Canadian and watch wrestling the way we watch wrestling right now with a VPN.
Yes.
We're millennials. We're millennials, right? We're millennials. We don't use cable. Come on. Get out of here. Get out of here with your cable. So that's why I think moving to streaming things is pretty cool. But there's still a lot of people who watch cable.
Yeah.
A lot of people are watching cable right now.
Yeah, NXT's numbers definitely gonna take a hit tonight.
The real main event
debate.
The real last man standing match.
Are we throwing it on after?
We were watching some clips just before going live here, and oh boy.
You'd think back in the 2.0 era, if you said, there was a show on TV where a crazy person was talking about people eating cats and dogs, you'd think it was just NXT 2.0.
Right.
But
it's
the potential president of the United States. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, according to Donald Trump, Springfield, they're eating dogs. They're eating dogs. And then ABC's David Muir corrected him right away, being like, "Sir, our team just reached out to like the whole city, and what you're saying is crazy." So shout out David Muir, cooked him. Just insanity. He's going off. The clips from this debate are already epic. I mean, Trump like pretty much lambasted Joe Biden that last one. It was like two old senile men, grumpy old men bickering with each other. One of them couldn't even understand what the other one was saying, and couldn't even understand himself. And then now the table is completely turned where it's like, oh, now you're the old guy. Hey, aren't you a little old to be running for president? Is what it's kind of coming. Old man yells at sky kind of thing. So definitely crazy. We're just Canadians watching this, looking down at our crazy neighbors down there. But wow, there was some great meme content to come out from the debate tonight. So send us all your your memes from it, because we were gonna try to watch picture in picture, but we were like, we gotta watch NXT. It's funnier to see it in. You're telling me Santa's little helper's in trouble?
And yeah, who's the other one? Snowball
the
too.
Cat? Yeah. Hope they're okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's pretty crazy times down in the United States. But yeah, so I wonder if this affects the rating of like tonight's NXT.
100%. This is going to be the most watched thing by miles today.
Yeah, I think so. But you know what? That didn't stop NXT from, dare I say, stacking the show and making it even seem like a big deal, which lately NXT TV has been really good. And if you've listened to us, we've definitely been praising it.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
They've definitely still put on a really good show, gearing up for the CW. Before we kind of jump into tonight's episode, you kept telling me how much I should watch Raw, and I saw Bret Hart was going to be on Raw, so of course I had to watch.
He looked thrilled to be there.
He looked so miserable. Oh my god! So walking in like, yep, I'm here, yep, Calgary.
Yeah.
I bet it was a riot to be there at the Hitman Bar before or after Raw, though.
Oh yeah,
I bet that was
I gotta go one day.
Yeah, that's on some bucket list. Recently, newly added to the bucket list is go to the Hitman Bar. Possibly before
we've got to go with Pollock though. He the only way we correspond by text is normally if it's about something about a show, or if we're meeting up or whatever, or Bret Hart's bar or Jeff Hardy memes. It's pretty much just that. But yeah.
Looked awesome, but segment with Gunther, who has just been
one of the good was
these past few months.
So great.
He stepped into world champion caliber for sure.
It's what I loved with that segment is when you just saw the smile on Gunther's face as he's approaching the punchline. He was just so eager to say,
"Let it breathe." Too.
Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg is my number one. Oh man, just so funny.
Awesome.
I thought they were really smart to do that. And Brett seemed great. Also, the Sami Zayn coming out in the Johnny Gaudreau, Gaudreau, sorry, jersey, which is like definitely played on the heartstrings. It took me a second to kind of realize what the significance of it was, and then when it hit me, I'm like, oh, wait a second, and it just like definitely hit me. So that was pretty cool and great for Sami to do that. But so it's Gunther and Sami at Bad Blood, which like we saw the Mania match, which was pretty good, but I felt like there was like another gear maybe they could have got into, and possibly this could be when they do that, like really step up.
What's cool as well is, I mean, like it's way too early to take this title off of Gunther. Yeah. But it going 1-1, you can always do that rubber match months down the line, right? And revisit it maybe when Sami is ready to win that title or whatever. Yeah. But Bad Blood's shaping up pretty nicely now, I'd say.
Yeah, we got that. We got Hell in the Cell. With CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, which I think we could see that was the right direction.
I think as soon as they announced Bad Blood, I think people were looking at this as the match.
Is it Finn and Priest in a cell as well? So there's 2 cell matches, I think.
I don't know. I didn't finish Raw last night.
Oh, okay. I feel like they added a few more matches. Yeah, let me pull it up.
Yeah, Finn and Priest is happening. I don't think they said it was a cell.
Oh, okay.
And then we got Liv and Rhea again, I believe.
Right. It says just a singles match.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So maybe just the one cell, but still, that's definitely a few matches already that are like,
looks good.
Yeah, pretty beefy there. You saw the stuff with the bracelet.
I did. Yes.
Oh boy.
They put them on sale, and then the person who originally made the bracelet wasn't happy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were charging $10 for those bracelets.
Wow.
I loved that before I could even go to the website to see with my own eyes, it had already been taken down. Me thinks it was Punk being like, maybe like
don't do that.
Yeah. That's kind of cheesy, kind of weird. Then Drew cooked the creator of them on Twitter, basically saying, because this person put out a tweet saying like, oh, I wish they asked me before they did this. And then Drew quoted it saying, of course you're a fan of his, because all you people do is bitch and moan. Thought that was pretty clever. And then I keep seeing ads for, it's like TIFF going on. And Batista recently saying that making the movie that's coming out and he's promoting, they asked him, they're like, fuck, we need like this. We need someone with a big Scottish accent who's like a big fucker. Do you know anyone? And he's like, I know someone.
Nice.
and when
so he's why he's
and then once asked about that, Batista's like, oh, like my goal is to get more wrestlers into movies. And I'm like, Dave, you're just like, what a nice. He looks like a completely different person, Dave Batista.
Yeah.
I hope he's healthy.
No,
I hope he's healthy.
addressed that. I saw I think with Chris Van Fleet was asked about it, and he's like, look, he said I'm 6'4" and 240 pounds now. I'm still a huge big guy. Right. I was just way bigger, and he's saying he feels healthier now. He's like, he's letting the gray come out as well. Like when you're so used to seeing this man looking huge, but I think that also typecasts you when you're massive, right? And I get the impression he really is taking acting seriously and wants to play diverse roles, and you can't be looking like Deacon Batista, the Leviathan, when you're just playing like a dad or whatever. I think he, it's obviously a stark difference, but I think he's looking good.
First wrestler turned actor to get an Oscar, Dave Batista.
We'll have to see.
Got to get some crazy for that, but he's looking good.
Yeah,
I mean, he just looks like a different person. So I was like, oh boy, I saw the interviews. I'm like, okay, and then he did address it. So I was like, all right, well, if he says he's all right, then, and like he's still doing action movies and stuff too. So pretty cool. I'm blanking out what the movie is, but to have Drew in it, that's pretty awesome for WWE. A movie they actually seem to be promoting that he's in, which is funny.
Pick and choose.
Yeah. Oh, you're in Star Wars? Nah, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Times have changed. Times are different in the PLE era, but yeah. So what else do we have going on? We did some other podcasts, and we definitely did a few others that we'd love for you to check out over on our patreon.com/Poisonrana, because $5 a month gets you access to hundreds of podcasts, including retro NXT reviews in What's Next, plus different wrestling reviews, best match ever, Europe part 1 and 2, our ECW One Night Stand 05 review, and this week, I don't know what you're doing on Friday, but mark your calendars because it will be Friday the 13th. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, we're entering spooky season a month early as our world champion patron, our family member, one of our supporters, Justin Killian, is joining us, and he has picked Friday the 13th, part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yes.
We've hopped all over the place with these Friday the 13th. We started with Jason X, I think was the first one.
Jason X, because someone picked it, and then we did the OG for a 13th
I think
Friday,
we've done 1, 2, and... Did we do 3? I think we've done 3.
They all blend together sometimes.
But I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, also known as Jason on a Boat is really what the title should be called of this movie. Jason Takes Manhattan. He gets to Manhattan.
Is it more Jason on the Humber?
Is that what it is? Jason goes on a cruise.
Nice. Good for him.
Yeah.
He's earned it.
Yeah. This is a great late 80s cheesy horror movie. Take Manhattan, or Jason Vancouver is another name you could call it.
Okay.
It definitely ain't filmed in New York. Like we did Rumble in the Bronx and we're reviewing it. We're like, that's Rumble in Vancouver. Yeah. That's what that is. But yeah, we're going to be chatting about Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th. It will be out midnight at Friday the 13th for your listening pleasure. And I hope you stay safe or get up to all the mischief that one does on a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. It's always fun chatting with Justin as well. He has great input on these shows. So, it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, so $5 a month, become a friend, and you get access to all these shows, plus everything in that back catalog. We have done lots and lots of fun shows, whether it's wrestling, movies, and so much more.
Absolutely.
And then I mentioned Poisonrana. You should search in your podcast feed, because we got Eagles Don't Hunt Flies, where Martin Bushby, Brandon from New Jersey, and Dickie Bird chatted about the Shield, the breakup of the Shield, as the Ambrose discuss what happened way back when. Plus, Shot in the Dark, Sino covers you with all the wrestling going on in 15 minutes or less. And I believe Sino and B will be recording a new What Up Doe in a day or two. So that will be out on the free feed as well. They'll be chatting about Kendrick's Super Bowl, All In, All Out, and so much more. The move to Netflix and everything, and everything else going on in hip hop and pop culture and stuff. So lots and lots of podcasts. Follow us on the socials.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But how are you? Any news? What have you been up to?
Good. I'm recovering Day
Still?
last week. Well, it took me like a proper day because we were a mess. That was the toughest podcast doing that Wednesday one because it was like wake up and watch NXT while really hungover, which I was trying my best not to be grumpy, but I hope it didn't. I did a good job. But what did I do? I went and saw Beetlejuice 2.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, don't say it a third time. Jeez, come on. Actually, I'm a very big fan of the original movie, like very obsessed, and I had very little expectations for this one.
Okay.
I was going in with like, this is going to be shit. I'm just going to make my girlfriend happy. But 5 minutes in, I was howling. And I was like, oh, actually, this is a pretty good like nod to the original. And I thought they did a really good job. And then it seems like some of the reviews are like mixed about it. But anyone who's a fan of the OG is like, man, look at Michael Keaton. He's still coming in and killing me. And Bob steals the show in this movie. Just saying. It got like genuine laughs. And I'd say for like seeing it in a theater, the visuals of it are like, they do a lot of, Tim Burton was like, we're going to try to do the most practical effects we can.
Okay.
But not just use CGI, like everything. And I think that made it like,
I've heard really good things so far. I've had a few friends recommend it.
Again, like, you know how much I love my spooky shit, and Beetlejuice.
Hasn't it taken stuff from the stage show?
It's taken stuff from the musical. So it's taken stuff and then it's like mixed things in with like the daughter. Winona Ryder's great in it as well. And like, they do a good job of like staying true and then also like advancing, which like you could see a third one eventually and whatever. Awesome. But Michael Keaton, I know he's been on a renaissance for like a while now, but like, man, so like it was great to see. He genuinely gave me some laughs. So I'm like, nice. I went into that thinking it was going to be shit. So I really liked it.
Good.
What about you?
I went to see Friendship, the world premiere.
Yeah.
At TIFF.
What is this for those who don't know?
I believe this film's not coming out until like next year.
Okay.
But TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, it's one of the first like film festivals of the calendar. And it's, I believe, the biggest one in North America, if not one of the biggest ones. And this is Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave.
Our favorite.
His new film with Paul Rudd and Kate Mara. And I loved it. I was belly laughing. It was pretty cool. Our friend Graham managed to get tickets, really nice seats just on the aisle, just before it starts. They basically have the rush line. So everyone buys tickets. Even if you have tickets, if you're not there 15 minutes before the show starts, they let people in the rush line to fill the seats.
Right.
And there were these two people who were like, oh, we could sit here. And they're like, nope, you've got to move.
Oh.
And they're moving them. This is 2 rows in front of us. And then Kate Mara and Paul Rudd just sit right in front of us.
Wow.
And
did he laugh during the movie?
He was so Paul Rudd, just sat there. Like, clearly, you know, celebrities are on a little bit when they're in public, but he was very Paul Rudd.
You didn't ask him about Halloween 6?
Unfortunately not, no. I didn't get a chance. But it was great.
But it's not going to be out for a while.
It's not out for a while. It's about this guy who, he gets a new neighbor. So Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd's the new neighbor. He's a weatherman on a news channel, and Tim Robinson just thinks he's the coolest fucking guy and wants to be his best friend. But the whole thing feels like I Think You Should Leave sketch.
Okay.
So, you know, when you think it's going one way, it goes a completely other way. Tim Robinson is very much his just usual weird self. So over time, Paul Rudd's like, I don't know about this guy. But it's clearly got influences from films like, you know, Stand By Me and The Goonies and those kind of kids things, because both of them are basically playing like adult children.
Right.
I thought it was hilarious.
Well, we love his show. So
I think you'll love it. If you're a fan of Tim Robinson and his style of comedy, I think you're really going to like it.
I mean, I love Paul Rudd and I Love You, Man.
Yeah.
Which is similar.
It's got that kind of vibe to it as well. And then after the film, there was a Q&A with the director and the cast and stuff.
Nice.
It was really fun. So recommend it. Keep an eye out for when that comes out.
Friendship.
Yeah.
Excellent. I noticed a film, like a trend going right now is the popcorn buckets.
Yes.
Of all these movies that are coming out with like the Wolverine basically giving head popcorn bucket, and the Alien movie that came with like the xenomorph one that looks like a giant sex toy,
Mhm.
but they had a Beetlejuice. Every theater sold out like right away, and like people are reselling these things. So watch for every big movie is now just going to come out with these to try to create different ones, and it makes me think of
Popcorn itself is expensive at the movies. How much are these things?
Yeah, my buddy bought popcorn the other day, and I was like, "How much did they just say?" It's like, was that $39.99 for a combo? This is why I bring my
That's like a flight to Amsterdam from London, like for fucking popcorn. That's fucked.
That's fucked, dude.
That's fucked.
That's crazy, right? That's why I bring my snacks in.
Yeah.
No shame. It's easier in the winter here because we got big jackets.
Oh, I've taken in like full on dinners to the summer. Pull out a whole rotisserie chicken, just eat away.
Yeah, just like go at it. I brought my twisted day. That was great.
Yeah,
good times.
And they don't care. It's like 16-year-olds letting you in. They don't give a fuck. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no one was talking in this time, so
Yeah.
I didn't get a free pass. But I'm always on the watch for that. Another thing going on. Rip James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
The voice of our childhood for sure.
Did you see the Empire State Building today?
No, what was it?
It's like
Vader?
It's got a huge Vader like projection on
Whoa.
it with the lightsaber, the red lightsaber going up in the sky.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, so he's Vader and he's also Mufasa.
He
isn't
is.
he? So like that's two big voices. Oh, I'm seeing this thing now. That looks great.
Awesome, right?
I'm pretty sure he signed away his voice like a long time ago to Disney for Star Wars. So
I can imagine so.
Like there was a time when what is it? The GPSs, people would sign off their voices to like
Morgan
things.
Freeman.
And now think in the world of AI, but like I bet he just recorded every like word in the dictionary like a million times over, and then they just put it into a machine, and like for the rest of eternity, his voice will be Vader.
Yeah,
like that's
100%.
Yeah, so rest in peace.
I was lucky enough to see him live. I went to see him in a production of Cat on Hot Tin Roof in London, probably a decade ago,
Wow.
15 years ago.
Okay.
He's phenomenal. Great actor.
And then also rest in peace, Dave Grohl. No, wait, sorry, no, he's not. He just put out a thing. He was being naughty. He was being mean.
Come on, he was one of the good ones.
He was, wasn't he? There goes my hero. Watch him as he hose.
I'm like, what? I've just got Bryan Danielson left now. Like,
oh no. Who are nice guys in the world of media?
Paul Rudd.
Paul
Rudd.
Don't jinx that. Fuck no. Paul Rudd, you be a good boy for the rest of your life.
Everyone clinging on.
I like Kenny Omega. He's my nice guy. World of wrestling, he's whatever.
Yeah.
But Dave Grohl was, at the end of the day, I don't want to sound like
Rockstar's in a rock
exactly
star, right?
Rockstar. Okay. The one guy we thought.
I mean, like, I maintain he's one of the I feel he's one of the like Tom Cruise is one of the last remaining Hollywood movie stars. He's been around forever.
Right.
I feel Grohl is like that with Rockstar frontman kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. He's still Dave Grohl, but it's just fun. It's Rockstar is gonna Rockstar for who are I don't know what you're talking about. He basically said he's got out of wedlock and he had another but he's a fool.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's time we could talk about NXT.
Let's go into it.
Let's talk about WWE NXT from Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. They say this is the season premiere, even though we all really know the CW is going to be the real season premiere. But WWE love to do this.
So this is the season premiere because SmackDown moves to USA this week, I guess.
Okay,
but
yeah.
It's WWE week, but we're going to have another season premiere in just under a month.
Let's do one every week.
Away. Yeah,
just
why
do
not?
Season premiere. It's every season, fall, winter, spring. Just do it. We see lots of superstars here showing up for tonight. Trick Williams in the parking lot, getting out of his car, getting the guys to take it. And we see in the corner Jada Parker holding a baseball bat in the NXT parking lot. She looks like she's waiting for someone. As it cuts to Giulia showing up, as it shows Jordynne Grace showing up, it shows all these people, and you still see Jada Parker with the bat in the background. So she's been waiting for, I believe, Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Influence.
Sorry. I'm not doing it on purpose, but
yeah,
I just really like that movie. So yeah, I think it's very her character when Jada Parker comes out, her like Titantron, very like Grand Theft Auto, and having in the background of all these is very auto as well. So little nod there. But we start things off with a tag team match. Now I know we were promised a certain tag team match, but it has been changed since I believe yesterday when Ava, our GM, put out a message saying due to some unfortunate circumstances, the Rascals will no longer be able to have this match. So instead, I'm putting in the Street Profits from Raw.
Yeah, why wasn't the match going ahead?
So the way she booked it was like, oh, like some unfortunate like circumstances. Leaning,
we never saw an attack or anything like that.
No, but the way she said it is like something happened.
Yeah,
and you kind of put 2 and 2 together. It might be an angle with the Rascals and Wes and something like that, which we will touch on a bit later. But instead, we get the Street Profits making their return to NXT as the crowd hits them with a welcome back chant, as well as we want the smoke. I was there for these guys in NXT. They had a great run.
Yeah, I mean, these were a real success story, weren't they? Especially, I think, Angelo Dawkins, who, I mean, we're seeing him on Was Next just pop up every now and then. He floated around tag partner to tag partner.
Backpack to backpack.
Yeah, it really didn't feel like this guy was ever going to be a thing. And then something just clicked with Montez. And I actually think since going to Raw, I think Angelo Dawkins has like improved so much in ring and looks great. And this team are just so solid now at this point. So, yeah, I think a real success story of NXT.
Yeah, it was great to see them kind of rise up, and they've always been pretty fun. But here they're taking on the NXT Tag Champs, Axiom and Nathan Frazer, never slowing down. When this match starts, Booker is like, oh, man, I've been waiting for this one for weeks. And Vic is like, hey, Book, they just announced this yesterday. So, and Book's like, no, I mean this whole episode. I've been waiting for this match for weeks. Yeah, that's what he said. Cool. We want the smoke chants continue on. Dawkins hits an exploder on Axiom at one point. It's all going crazy. Tez hits a straight up rock bottom, even though Vic is like, hey, he hit a bookend. It's like, nah, Tez hits the rock bottom. That's definitely the way he hits it differently, you know. There's a sweet
the rock bottom is more you fall with it.
Yeah,
you're falling flat. Yeah. Whereas the bookend, you're going to your knees normally.
Yeah,
Trick does more of a bookend than a rock bottom.
Exactly.
But yeah, this was a rock bottom.
There's a pretty cool German assist combo from the Profits for a near fall, and then there's a big knee off the top from Axiom on Dawkins for a near fall as well. Up top, Axiom hits his Spanish fly, but as Frazer goes for the 450, it's blocked by Tez. Tez then hits the zigzag for a 2 count, and then they set up, I think it's for Axiom on the shoulders for a doomsday blockbuster, but it's broken up, and then it's all broken up and gone to shit as the Bloodline show up. Tangaloa, Jacob Fatu, and the other one.
Tongaloa.
Wait, which one's which?
Tongaloa is the shit one.
Okay, yeah. Tongaloa. Just Tongaloaing. It's a DQ, double DQ. The match is thrown out, but they attack the Street Profits. They hit the like assist crossroads on those guys, and then Fatu hits the Swanton as well. And then they're just like screaming as they stand in the ring, taking over NXT. But yes, the Bloodline 2.0 has taken over NXT. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think this is we had this last year where suddenly every week you had a lot of main roster integration. You had, Dom being your North American champion. You had Becky being your NXT Women's Champion. It seemed every week someone was showing up. Obviously, you had that big week when they were head-to-head with AEW, when you had Cody and Undertaker and all the like. I feel they're really trying to build up that viewership before they move to the CW to really have audiences think anything can happen on this show and you don't know who's going to show up. The match itself, it got cut. It only really went one segment, and I definitely want to see a longer match between these two. It kind of just wet my whistle a little bit. Yeah. But when comparing to the great matches Axiom have been having recently, I don't think this lived up to that at all. But it was more to set up for this angle at the end, which is cool that right now, Bloodline are a huge story on SmackDown going on. So having them appear on NXT is a a pretty big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. They've done a great job with trying to cross over different talents, even the stuff with TNA. So they're telling you like, hey, once we're on the CW, it's going to be a big deal. You'll see stuff like this. They're trying to get us used to this because it's like, hey, look, who knows who could show up kind of thing. And I'm assuming that must be some sort of reason why they switched the match as well. Like, why would they attack the Rascals, right? It wouldn't make sense. I assume they're beefing with the Street Profits.
Yeah.
So, like,
I
thought
Street Profits and I'm on Contenders.
I love specifically Jacob Fatu. Like,
he's so good.
He's just a madman. He has this like scary presence to him.
Yeah.
And then there's the other ones that I'm like, I could do without probably all of you.
I think Tama needs to grow the beard back out.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, I thought he looked way like, wilder and cooler with the beard.
Yeah.
Like, he's serviceable. Tama Tonga can be good. Like, he had that match with Shingo earlier in the year. Yeah, you're against Shingo, but that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Tangaloa, yeah.
Tangaloa.
Yeah.
That's the one.
He's not the best.
Does he know?
Or Tongaloa now, isn't he? Does he know he's not the best?
Does he know? Does he know like he's kind of shit?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, the dude couldn't even hold up the belt that one time. So I think it's part of his bit, but Jacob Fatu, though.
Oh, he's the man.
The real deal for sure. We get a video for Giulia. We see clips of her from Japan, from Stardom, from her sitting WrestleMania weekend next to Knuckles.
Yep.
In the crowd.
Yep.
Who got the bigger pop? We were there. Be honest. Knuckles got the bigger pop.
Yeah.
Sonic and Knuckles. They're over. You ask any parent, any kid, Sonic and Knuckles.
Oh, talking of renaissances, yeah.
Like,
Sonic.
Yeah.
Really
who would have thought that Sonic like would become one of the most popular things? Because like as a kid, those were sick games. But Giulia also a big pop at Stand and Deliver. We see her there. We see her debut at No Mercy, and we see her last week hitting the knee to Chelsea Green, which sets up this match. Giulia made her NXT WWE against Chelsea Green.
We did have a little NXT Anonymous as well, just before the match, where we saw Tony D'Angelo chatting to a silhouette.
Very large man.
A large man that he's paying off to potentially take out Oba Femi later in the show.
Very wide statured. So it had the internet talking today of like, who
could it be?
It kind of looked like had the rhino body, like wide.
I mean, we know who it is.
Yeah, but like similar.
Yeah.
I was like, that's going to be a big dude. We go to Chelsea Green making her way, and Giulia comes out. We see Giulia's entrance now. Here, looking pretty superstar, I'd say, because like you get the pink entrance, the cool music, the cool ring gear. I thought,
great presentation. Yeah. I mean, I think Giulia always, I did back like during COVID, I guess, or pre-COVID, maybe even the Cinderella tournament with WH when she won it. And that was my first time really seeing Giulia. And I think you can just see the like star appeal with Giulia. She's got a great look about her, a great presence. And this feels like one of those acts that they're putting a lot behind. They've given a lot of buzz for her, having her show up at Stand and Deliver, and then recently coming back into the company. And yeah, presentation's good. I love the colors, the pink, the music. It's good.
So these two start off, and Chelsea Green basically gives her a little old pimp slap here, a backhanded slap, which pisses Giulia, and she heads her here. They then go at it. There's a drop kick off the top from Giulia, and then the running octopus stretch, as Vic corrects us that don't call it an octopus stretch because it's the spider web lock as she locks this move in.
This was cool. Beautiful. She just leapt into it. It's like an abdominal stretch kind of thing, but just how she got into it was very impressive.
It is like a spider web thing, the way she like jumps at you like it. Chelsea, though, does eventually get to the ropes. Green comes back with a pretty sweet German to Giulia, like sending her on her head. And then her like innovative like flatliner move, but Giulia is able to kick out of that. Giulia comes back with a back suplex, and then they're fighting like on the apron, and she does this neck breaker, hangman's neck breaker, I guess, off the apron to the ground, which looked pretty painful. But then Green does come back. She throws Giulia across the commentary desk into Book and Vic as they like move out of the way. So Giulia just lands into the like chairs here. Green then throws her back in the ring and goes up top for like a flying crossbody or something, but Giulia moves out of the way, so no water in the pool, as then Giulia runs at her with the running V-trigger type knee and then hits a Northern bomb, the Northern Lights bomb for the 1, 2, 3 in a pretty impressive victory here on NXT. But don't forget, Chelsea Green is no slouch either.
Yeah, Chelsea's great. I thought it was a good debut. I think, and we've kind of seen this in the past with a lot of the Japanese female talent that come over. I remember it being a thing with Asuka when she first came over. They work such a harder style in Japan that a lot of the American female wrestlers might not be used to, like that kind of strong style, and it's adapting that. And there are people that you're going to be in there with, and I think Rox will be able to deliver that kind of hard-hitting style. We saw it when she was up against Satomura. Someone like a Chelsea Green and some of the other people on the roster, I'm not sure. And I felt Giulia just looked a little softer on her offense than I'm used to seeing with her. And that's kind of one of the things that makes her special, is how hard she hits.
Yeah.
And didn't quite see that on this match, but was still doing some cool things like the, hangman's neck breaker off the apron, and still some stuff that looked kind of dangerous, but it was a little safe for me. But I'm sure once we get to the Rox match, it'll be turned up a bit more.
Like last week, the knee to Chelsea didn't look the most impressive, but yeah, I mean, she might have to tone herself down if she's wrestling WWE stars or like NIL players.
That's the thing, right? But when she's in there with an Io, a Becky, a Charlotte, she'll be great.
Yeah,
she'll be fantastic because they can hit back as hard.
You know what? For a first impression, I thought this was pretty good. I always, hoped she got it in WWE. Ever since watching her, I'm always like, man, you're funny, you got the look, and you're pretty good. So I thought we can get from Giulia, and I think the Roxanne Giulia match will be even crazier and better than this. But yeah, I like the full presentation of her to give you exactly. So that was pretty good. We go backstage to Blake Howard, who I was not super familiar with.
This guy is new.
Level Up, apparently.
Oh, okay, right.
Got to listen to Shot in the Dark to hear Blake Howard. But with Trick Williams, and Trick says, I never have been in a last man standing match, but tonight I will be in one with one of the most dangerous men. And he says, Pete, always will be a butch. And I don't care if you break fingers. I know you're a bad man, but tonight I will be the last man standing. So Trick in his first ever, probably Pete Dunne's first ever last man standing. I mean, maybe like before WWE, but I can't necessarily.
Yeah, I feel Dunne maybe had one. Didn't he have? He did something. He had a bit of a feud with Tony D'Angelo. I think might have had something like that, or a crowbar match.
Crowbar on a pole match, probably. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
We go to a video sent in from the TNA Knockouts champion, Jordynne Grace, who is issuing an open challenge for the Knockouts title here tonight, and says that NXT, bring your best. So later tonight, an NXT star will face Jordynne Grace. But it kind of cut into the next segment before the video stopped playing. So she's still talking.
Yeah.
And she's like, NXT, I hope you bring your bouncy. I was like, wait, what's going on? And Javon Evans like video starts playing.
There are a couple of things I noticed on this show, and we watched the network version.
Yeah.
But I noticed they flashed up the tweet, the Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill tweet during commercial break at one point.
Oh, okay.
So, a couple of maybe just production things.
Production's being a little bouncy here tonight. But when we come back from commercial break, so Javon Evans made his entrance here, but we go to break. When we come back, oh boy, we go to the barber shop. I don't think it's the same barber shop we once knew here in NXT with. Something tells me this is a different barber shop. We see Lexis King cutting a promo as a barber is doing his hair, and he mentions that everyone talks about Lexis King, and it's the most talked about and the best beard in all of WWE. As we see the new beard it looks like, you know, when you're at a college party and someone falls asleep and then you go, here's a Sharpie.
It looks like he's laid off the tanner as well. So his skin looked paler and his beard looked darker.
He's got like a lineup,
which made it just look even more fucking ridiculous.
If you haven't seen what he's done to it now, like, you owe it to yourself to check it out. But it, like, Lexus King must be stopped from this. This is a ridiculous lineup. Like, it looks as if it's all Sharpied on.
Look, doesn't he look really pale there? It
very
does
white.
look.
It's Sharpie.
It looks, like a.
All it's missing is a dick drawn on his face. It's like someone Sharpied this in, but it makes you just hate him even more. So, hey, lean into it, man.
Yeah, but maybe he should spend more time wrestling training.
Yeah. He says that while he's getting his lineup here, his fresh, crispy lineup, he says all the intellectual, that's what he calls this, one of the greatest hits, and they put together this video. So he's playing this like TikTok of all like him beating up people, and then shows him beating Ora Mensa with the feet on the ropes. And he says, Ora, who's your daddy now? And as he gets attacked by Ora Mensa, who attacks him in the barbershop, and it's a big pull apart and everything as like the feed goes down. But
Mensa just loves jumping people. Is that his gimmick? He just jumps people out of nowhere, wherever they are.
Yeah, fighting around the world. Wow. This is a whole new level of facial hair lineup. I don't even know what to call this, but it is some.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
We see the women backstage. They're all trying to see who's going to be that challenger for Jordynne Grace as they're all like practicing. We see Lola Vice, one of the women, like shadow boxing with Kalani, and to Lola, and then there's getting at it. They're getting all catty, and then there's a big pull apart.
I'm starting to get a little tired of the NXT women's locker room. It's always just this setup of the women just bickering.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And it's a lot of the setups. I'd like to see them try to do some other things, because I feel this is how 90% of the NXT matches of the week get set up in the women's division.
Yeah, this is how every match gets set up, is with them just arguing backstage.
It's like 5 women there just talking, and then a heel walks in and is like, "You're all bitches," and they're like, "Whoa, and shut up! I'm not. You're."
And then next week, JCJ.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. We go to our Heritage Cup match. I mentioned Javon Evans in the ring already, taking on the Heritage Cup champion Charlie Dempsey. He comes out with Miles and Ren Sinclair, but Javon has Cedric in his corner. You see, Javon heard it was the Heritage Rules Cup match, therefore got the cornerman.
Yep.
See, I follow the rules. Mm-hmm. So does Javon. Round 1, we see these two tie it up, and Charlie keeps trying to hit like and arm wrenches, but Javon keeps getting out of every single one and like one-upping him, which is frustrating Charlie. Booker's referencing Charlie reminds him of Dave Taylor, Fit Finley, some real graps. Eventually, there's like a series of different monkey flips where they're flipping each other over. With a few seconds left, there's a crazy Rana out the corner, but the bell rings, so we go into round 2. Charlie starts things off with a roll-up attempts, and they keep trying to pin each other very fast and pretty impressive. But Javon does this like flip over where he lands on his. Charlie gets the best of him and hits a dragon suplex with the bridge for the 1-2-3. Therefore, Dempsey gets 1-0 here. When we go to commercial, we come back. They're in round 3, and there's a crazy-looking corkscrew splash from Javon to get him a point. So now it's tied 1-1 as we go into round 4. Dempsey is like attacking the wrist and the arm. He pulls him on the apron and hits a Regal knee. Shout out Daddy Regal. And then a series of forearm strikes when he comes back. There's a double underhook, and then it goes for a guillotine, but the time runs out, but he doesn't want to let go. So Cedric attacks him to try to break it up. And then round 5, there's Javon does the springboard into a huge Cesaro uppercut from Dempsey. There's some great exchanges here. And eventually Cedric does this jump over the ref, barely clearing the ref here. I was very worried about this ref for a second, but does clear him and takes out Miles. And then back in the ring, when the ref is distracted, Tavion Heights jumps the barricade and hits the running belly to belly onto Javon. Just ragdolling.
The timing here looked great because he did kind of come out of nowhere, and this is an awesome looking belly to belly.
Rolls him in. Charlie pins him, and the ref doesn't see, so counts the 1, 2, 3. Charlie Dempsey retains the Heritage Cup.
Yeah, pretty fun match. Setting up a tag for next week as it all broke down with them brawling. You've got Miles and Tavion, I think, against Cedric and Javon.
Yeah.
What I really liked in this is Dempsey's doing his classic chain wrestling style. And a lot of Javon's counters were like high-flying counters, which some of them I hadn't really seen before. Some of his cartwheels and flips out of basic, the sequences, kind of the wrist locks into a wrist lock and flip over. But I thought Javon managed to make his like high flying work make sense in this style for some quite unique counters, which I liked.
Yeah, you know what, call me crazy, but like they had really great chemistry, and these two could be big deals in WWE. They're young kids in two different styles, but that's what makes entertaining wrestling when like one guy's really into the grapples and the other's bouncy, and then it meshes well. So broken record, but would love to see the match without the Heritage Cup rules because I think these two got something there. I love both. These are my two like guys I'm really rooting for right now with the young like talent. Javon, since coming in here, I'm just like, how are you 20 years old?
Yeah,
like that's
crazy,
insane, dude. Like this guy should be a big star for WWE. But Regal Jr. is also on my watch list. He's very, very good, and his character is exactly what they've been working on. So he's going to be a killer. We see Ethan Page backstage. Oh, sorry, no, we go to something. I just wanted to skip this so badly. Once upon a time, as we see a evil, scary, think of The Conjuring or I don't know, some other scary movie. We see a dollhouse and we hear the voice of someone, Rosemary, who says, once upon a time, the hive cried out, the demon assisted, and the sleepy psycho, what does she call it? The demon assassin? Sorry, the demon assassin.
The sleepy assassin.
And the sleepy psycho, referring to Wendy Chu. That's a pretty clever name. She says that they've got lots of surprises up their sleeve. Tonight, surprise 1. Next week, you'll see it again, and maybe even more after that. So you've made your bed, but did you happen to check what was underneath? A lot can go wrong when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And then you see like Rosemary under the bed, scary, again, all like a demon. And then we see, I say this as a spider just crawled on my leg.
Ooh,
so
nice.
it was hearing me talk about something scary right now. And then we see Wendy in the like closet, all scary and weird, and dollhouse. They destroy the
breaking Tatum's dolls, and the like implication is that they're in Tatum's bedroom and that they're the monsters who are living under the bed and stuff. I don't always like the spooky stuff.
Yeah.
I did think this was actually shot very well.
Yeah.
And a lot more kind of thought put into it compared to a lot of Wendy Chu's other stuff. And I think, Rosemary's been doing this gimmick for years at this point. And quite interesting, seeing, time, money, and production put into these TNA wrestlers who are not signed by WWE. I still would have liked some sort of explanation as to how these two characters found each other, even if it is something a little wacky, rather than just we're both spooky, so we're friends. But I thought the production on this video was actually quite good.
I think them explaining was the hive cried out and someone answered.
Sure,
is like that's
fine. Okay.
But you know what? Like, I still don't like the character or whatever this Wendy Chu stuff is, but they put the best production so far behind it, because Rosemary coming under the bed is like a scary movie. Yeah. So, yeah.
It was a pretty good line as well. Like, Tatum, you've made your bed, but don't know who's lurking beneath it.
Like, inserting Rosemary, who's been doing this kind of stuff, already helped. Like, whatever it is Wendy is still trying to do, I don't know what that is. Like, I still don't like it, but it was better than what we've seen before. So, I'm just being honest. Ethan Page backstage. He's asked about who he's cheering for. I hate that the interviewer says, hey, Ethan Page, who are you rooting for? Not who would you like to face, who are you rooting for?
Who do you think will win?
And he's like, I'm not rooting for either of these people. I'm rooting for myself. I don't want to face them. He kind of mentions that Pete Dunne's, mean and aggressive, and Trick's a one-trick pony, and he doesn't want to face either of them. So you can thank me for this great era we're in of NXT with all these new stars and everything big happening. It's all because of me, Ethan Page. So all I have to do on October 1st in Chicago is pick up the scraps from the last man standing match, and I'll still be champion. You're welcome. He walks off. Kind of a rude question. Who are you rooting for?
It almost left me thinking that we were going to get a bullshit non-finish where he interferes and then it comes to being a triple threat, but we didn't. So a little red herring here, maybe. It
makes more sense with just Trick, right? Like that's the story I still think they're going with. This is when we get a video for Jade and Bianca, who said they will be appearing on the Chicago CW.
Yeah, they made it sound like they're going to defend the titles there.
Okay, so who are we going up against?
Yeah.
Fatal Influence. Who else do we have?
Got Fatal Influence. You got
the Sword Surfers.
The Sword Surfers. You got Rosemary and Chu.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Soul and Carmen would be good.
Better.
I think that I don't mind that idea.
Yeah.
Trying to think who our other women's tags are.
Yeah.
That's
we
kind of
lost them all.
Yeah.
So, but that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oba Femi makes his way to the ring, the North American champion. Tony D'Angelo has hired a goon to take this man out tonight, and the reveal. Hammerstone. I said it that way. That's kind of how it should be sound, like Hammerstone. I feel like that was the character of Willem Dafoe in the new Beetlejuice movie. I could be wrong.
Hammerstone.
I could be wrong. He also is fantastic. But Hammerstone from TNA, are you familiar with it?
Yeah, he's someone I've been aware of. I haven't seen a great deal of his matches. I've seen some of the stuff from TNA pay-per-views I've checked out. Back when I was doing the MLW reports for Post and maybe a couple of WrestleMania weekend matches, but I haven't seen a lot of this guy, but I'm familiar with him.
Same thing. I'm very familiar and aware, but I've not necessarily watched a lot of his work. But he's a big boy, and he's going up against another big boy. So Vic makes Book do the line, do the thing. Book, no bread, no water, just meat. This is a thick boy matchup as we go in here, and
I thought for a second Pat McAfee just got jacked.
This guy's got a body of like an older wrestler, like he's built like giant, like his muscles got muscles, right? So he's big. These two are just like exchanging meat here. Eventually Hammerstone hits like a shoulder block off the top and then a clothesline sending Oba to the outside, which like is shocking because we haven't really seen people manhandle him like this. But right away Oba like smacks him, gets him in the ring and hits a lariat, and then like hits an overhead belly to belly type exploder move, and then is just throwing this guy around. And I think this is both big boys. Eventually Hammerstone comes back and hits a choke slam, but Oba just barely moves his shoulder to kick out here. Eventually gets back up to his feet, and Oba does we just call it the toss, I guess, but it is exactly that.
Yeah, toss power bomb.
This is like he just throws you. It's like throwing someone into a lake or pool or something. Just throws this guy and then picks him up, runs the ropes, makes him run the ropes, pop up power bomb, 1, 2, 3. The ruler of NXT continues to rule.
This was okay. I was a little underwhelmed, to be honest. I think I wanted a bit more meat madness from it, and I think this being the first time we've seen Hammerstone on NXT, I almost wish we had him just come in a month ago, just doing some squash matches to build up for this mini match to really put over Oba dominating this guy. But I didn't think he got enough in to make the win from Oba look impressive, if that makes sense. I mean, it's always impressive watching Oba just throw around these big guys, but I expected a little more. And from everything, I haven't seen enough of Hammerstone to really judge, but whenever I've seen him, I feel he is a bit more of a look than the work, right?
Yeah, like it had some cool moves in it. It was, I guess, as long as it needed to be, but it didn't necessarily blow me away or anything. But yeah, the fact that they're both big guys was impressive, but I'm assuming we're continuing with Oba and Tony, like the feud, right?
To be
like a rematch probably at one of the big CW weeks coming up. But yeah,
guys do it week 2. Couldn't you?
Like super cool to see Hammerstone, you know, make his WWE NXT. Always cool to see that. It wasn't necessarily anything that's like oh, it's tough because you're gonna get.
You're not gonna remember Hammerstone. This.
You're gonna get destroyed by Oba is the gimmick of this guy.
Whereas some of the other come in, you've like from TNA, you've been interested in seeing again. I don't really know if we'll see much more Hammerstone after this.
We're going to the real Hammerstone, Mr. Stone. I could be wrong, but they're like, hey, you know, you didn't win the match, but like, we're gonna do something for you, and we're gonna solve something. So they get really excited. They honk, and this is when the camera Duke and Chase U walk, and Duke looks at the camera and says, "You're low life scum." Chase, you live there on bed and give Ridge Holland and on Chase. Sorry, I mean
your hospital bed. You got to sit up and walk.
Dude, fantastic.
The way it
so
was
good.
the Sorkin West Wing style, like walking and talking promo that made it work. I love these guys. I just Chase, you have definitely beat me in submission, but Duke especially
for sure
is so entertaining, and I love how I think the way his character a lot of the time, you know, seems like he doesn't give a shit. When he gets really fired up, it means more. I think so. I enjoy him a lot.
I love this guy so much. He gets me so fired up, and he's hilarious. He's a good wrestler. Like, yeah, just for like, I can't believe it's all worked out for this guy thus far. Like, he's one of my favorite characters. Yeah. He's so funny, entertaining, and you just knew after such a that he was going to get his ass kicked. We go backstage. Kalani and Rensing there. They're with Lola, and they're all talking about, like, you know, who's going to enter this open challenge and what's going on with these mean ladies backstage. When Jada Parker with her baseball bat is like, hey, I'm looking for Fatal Influence. Have you seen them? They were literally in the parking lot. And
they didn't go to the dressing.
Found them. Somehow they got in past you. Lola's like, yeah, I don't like those girls either. Like, maybe we should team up and take them out. And Jada trying to look for any partners. Like, you know, I'm going to do this on my own. And Lola's like, well, like, I got beef with them too. So we'll see. They will set up something.
I imagine they'll partner.
Yeah. So
we've got Lola and JC next
Lola
week,
and JC next week. So I imagine Jada comes and interferes and some malarkey there. But out comes Ridge Holland. I guess the good thing about Ridge turning on Chase U is we got his theme music back. So Ridge comes out looking mean, and out comes Duke with Riley and Thea Hale of Chase U.
He had the MVP trophy as well.
He must have got it fixed.
It.
Yeah, they didn't really explain.
I would have liked. I think they could have made this this trophy. What's the? I'm trying to remember the thing. They do it with Kylo Ren's mask. The Japanese
gold.
The Japanese style where you put together things that are broken. And looking like have that
with the gold. Yeah. They dip it with the lines.
Got you. Either do that or just like, you know, masking tape and glue and make it look really shitty.
I just went and bought another one at the story, but
I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, like him not having it is like what would make him. He had it, so I'm like, you'd be more mad if he didn't have it. But anyways, so Duke versus Rouge, grudge match here. They start to brawl right away. Eventually, the commentary desk is like top is thrown away. Duke hits his into the German on Ridge for a 2 count. Eventually, Duke grabs Duke. You don't need to hit him with this. Like, we want to win respectively. So he's like, yeah, all right. But then Ridge like pushes Duke, which then sends Duke into Riley. They all fall down, and Riley's selling like his leg is really hurt. So the ref is checking on him. Thea's checking on him, leaving Duke and Ridge alone. There's a lariat from Ridge here, just laying into Duke. There's a belly-to-belly overhead, and then a crazy suplex into a power slam from Ridge.
Yeah, like the delayed vertical, but think like
Goldberg
Duke is a big guy as well. This was impressive.
It's very Goldberg-esque, like catching him and slamming him. And then his DDT for the 1-2-3, but it doesn't stop there. Right after the match, he attacks him again. He slams him into the barricade and then hits the DDT like onto the barricade spot. He must have watched Raw with Eric Rowan and thought, I'm going to do that.
I thought exactly the same thing. I haven't really seen people use this barricade as like a battering ram or anything, and then twice in 2 days. But
so he attacks Ridge even more, does the DDT, and then stands tall, and Thea is just looking in shock and awe. And man, fuck you, Ridge, as the crowd are really upset.
I would have liked seeing Duke get a bit more in it just because I like Duke.
Me too.
I think story-wise, this does make sense. He does just have to steamroll these people. I wonder if the Riley thing could have been him faking, maybe. Whether
You're still on this.
Maybe, I don't know, whether he'll actually be involved with Ridge. I don't know. But I guess we're going to have him probably destroy Riley next week.
Yeah.
If not, and then it'll just be him about to take out his daughter when where Andre Chase comes back.
Yeah, one of the big things, like whether it's not Chicago but St. Louis.
Yeah,
like that could be the Andre versus.
You could always
Ridge.
have the return at Chicago to set up for St. Louis the match.
Yeah, like that would be a cool idea. I too wanted like a big match because again, Duke's promo made me go, man, you're awesome. Like this is great, and then he just kind of got steamrolled here and just crushed. So it was like, would like to see a bit more, but I guess the main story is Andre getting the match. But I still think maybe Thea might like turn on them. I'm not sure. There's something happening, as we say every damn week, but
we're too invested.
Tell me that we're not invested. It's like, tell me that it's not in all of wrestling. Chase you.
Yeah.
Never forget. Fuck you, Ridge. Genuine heat from me, brother. Just beating up Chase you. How could you? Can't do this to me. Love it. Here we have a pretty interesting moment on NXT as we see Jordynne Grace getting ready for her Knockout Open Challenge when she walks by and has a face-to-face encounter with Giulia. As they kind of stare at each other, smile at each other, Giulia looks at the belt and Jordynne walks on by. Very interesting.
That would be a good match.
Could you imagine that match?
I very much want to see.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. So when Grace's TNA contract is up and she's over here in January, February, I think we're going to get that match. I think that's going to be a WrestleMania weekend match right there. I think this is your stand and deliver match right here.
Yeah, I could see that.
I know that's a ways away, but
no, but realistically, if Jordynne Grace is coming in, I think you do give her the NXT run, and I think Roxanne is probably losing this title to Giulia on that CW debut. And I see Roxanne moving up pretty soon as well.
Yeah. We see Pete Dunne cutting a promo, but he's sitting down, not looking at the camera. When he turns around, we notice his eye is just nasty.
Yeah, he was bleeding in this match. Pretty good main event last night, that four-way. Ilya, Pete, Jay, and Braun. But yeah, his eye got fucked up in that match.
His eye looks scary.
Looked pretty nasty here.
He says that he heard what Trick had to say and he knows what Trick has. I'm going to do what Trick can't do, and that's figure it out. And then I'm going to become NXT champion. So yeah, #1 contendership. Last man standing, main event tonight. And then we get some great news. On the CW debut of NXT in Chicago, are you ready? We're getting Ms. TV.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know when to take my bathroom break now.
I mean, who's the guest going to be?
I don't know. Yeah. CM Punk?
I see CM Punk opening the show.
Yeah, you'd think so. But...
So what we've got, Jade and Bianca, Miz, and Punk advertised for this show. So
yeah. I know it's like, hey, we're gonna put a main roster guy on and promote and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily think that's like, oh shit, I better tune in to see the Miz. Like, I feel like it's not necessarily one of the, like 10 years ago, maybe not even, but like it's a little.
Yeah, but I feel it's more like it's the okay. We're normally Miz TV or something is to set up a feud or to bring in someone or whatever. So and it's a way of just getting more main roster involvement, and Miz says yes to anything. So
yeah. I'm not a big fan of the Miz, so I'm not necessarily excited about this. Mike, Roxanne, Chicago. Oh shit, we're gonna get a Chicago street fight for something else. Oh shit, yeah. Well, also the Miz is on it. Oh, okay. WWE just love to crush me down, beat me down. I mentioned a Chicago street fight because they cut to a segment where Vic and Booker interrupted by Wes Lee, and he grabs Vic's commentator headset and he's like, "Hey Zach," he's talking to Wentz. "We both know why Trey isn't able to compete tonight because I'm that reason," referring to that he took Trey out for the match. And he goes, "How about me and you do it one more time on the CW in Chicago, a Chicago street fight." So Wes versus Wentz one more time, but this time street fight.
Nice. Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm still not buying this Wes character. I'm hoping I do. I didn't get into that match quite as much as I was hoping I would. Maybe this is the one, a street fight you can do a bit more with. I feel kind of bad for Trey because I think Trey Miguel's excellent.
Yeah.
And he's definitely been the spare part in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And like even here, we didn't even bother showing you him get taken out.
You didn't even get attacked.
I killed Trey. He's done.
He's dead.
He's done. So
I attacked him.
Fuck your tag team dreams.
What if like someone's like, "Hey Wes, what did you do to him?" I took him out.
Yeah.
It's like when we saw someone backstage that Dan and Jada saw, like, "Oh, it's you." It's like, bitch, there ain't nobody there. You can't stop lying to us. Stop it. Okay. You know I love me some Wes. You know I love me some Wentz. But you're having a Chicago street fight weeks after we just saw perhaps the greatest Chicago street fight at All Out. Tax in the box. I don't know if they can top that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I wonder what whether WWE want to push the violence anymore moving forward into this new era. Like, I mean, I'm sure Netflix, there's more they can get away with that they can't necessarily on TV. We've seen TNT and TBS with AEW like let a whole lot of things go on TV, and whether it's a WWE edict or their like television partners, what they can and can't do. CW, I wonder what they allow them to do. Because I would like to see because I've got gripes with this main event tonight as well. I would like to see WWE push it a little bit more. I'm not necessarily talking hyperdynamic.
Syringes.
I'm not necessarily talking that, but I need a little bit more than kendo sticks and chair shots to the gut.
You want like the stab him with Ozempic or something?
Yeah, just I think they can up the ante a little bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like,
whether we're gonna have blood introduced more, I could see that being a thing. Like, it would be hard way or like blading or just fake blood or what. I don't know.
A few of our friends were like, "Oh, you got to check out the street fight on Raw. It was crazy." And then I see online like, "Whoa, street fight was crazy on Raw." I wasn't expecting plastic bags and syringes and bricks. Okay, but then I tune in and it's extinguishers and guardrails. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. Like, come on. So like, yeah, I agree. Like, you can be creative with not actual violent things.
I did enjoy that match on Raw, but mainly for just the bodies everywhere. Yeah. That kind of almost not quite anarchy in the arena, but just like there's a lot of chaos. Shit going on and chaos. And I think that's where this new Wyatt have been working for me.
But even before this recent All pay-per-view, I feel like WWE, when they do the violent matches, they haven't been hitting in a long time, like at least the last year. Like,
no, but we have had I think the the street fight with Gargano and Ciampa, which is still like way into the PG era of WWE. I think they did more than
they're creative. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm not necessarily asking for blood and guts and needles.
Me too.
And tubes and thumbtacks, but I do want to see a bit more creativity than guardrail spots and kendo sticks.
It's just always the same ones. So it's like they do weeks and weeks of like, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to hurt you so bad. I'm going to do this. And then it's like, and he's kendo stick. It's like, all right. Like, oh, I put you through the guardrail. It's been that way for like a long, long time. And it's like, okay, can you just do anything else? Like there's other weapons. So like the fact that it's not in the performance center, maybe it gives them some freedom to do other stuff. Cause like here in the performance center, it's kind of smaller, right? But
I still think you can do stuff there.
Yeah. I know what you mean. There needs to be balance. But we go to our next match. Jordynne Grace, the TNA Knockout Champion, putting her title on the line in an open challenge. And the competitor answering this challenge, the waves splash over. And it's Sol Ruka making her way to the ring. I was excited about this. Big fan of Sol Ruka here. The bell rings and Sol keeps trying to do some of her flippy moves to counter Grace's power. Eventually, Grace gets sick of this, so counters one of the flippy things into like just a face plant and is like, yeah, take that. And then hits her with a huge spine buster for a 2 count. Eventually, they both flip each other out to the outside. And this is when Sol does her running up the like turnbuckle to the outside with a moonsault. Very impressive as we go to break. When we come back, Grace tries to hit Sol with a vertebreaker. Thankfully, she gets out of this and then does like a springboard crossbodies back and forth. Eventually, Grace catches her and goes for a crazy sidewalk slam, but this is countered into a nuts looking DDT from Sol for a 2 count. Grace then starts to like swings the ropes to catch Sol and puts her on the top rope. And then hits a muscle buster. And before she can even capitalize, the lights go out. This is 2 matches on tonight's show that were just getting cooking and then interrupted. When the lights come back on, it's not The Undertaker. It's Rosemary and Wendy Chu who attack Jordynne Grace and lay her out. And I guess setting their sights on some sort of feud with Rosemary and Jordynne Grace. That's what they seem to be doing here. I'm not quite sure. They did say they had a few surprises for us.
Yeah, I don't like repeating angles on the same show. Yeah, like two non-finishes, 2 matches where it's clear they're trying to protect. There's not going to be a title change, and we're trying to protect the challenger because I think they see a lot in Sol Ruka and didn't want to necessarily have her lose here to Jordynne Grace. I thought the match was okay. Sol is great, but I felt some of her moves were like not quite hitting. Like she goes for very ambitious stuff. Yeah, and I thought there were a couple of fumbles and a little bit of clunkiness in here. There was enough that I really enjoyed in this as well. I'm sure there's a better match in them without the interference. I found it interesting that Grace hit the muscle buster because I thought that was a banned move in WWE.
I was under this same assumption.
We have not seen that since the Tyson Kidd injury.
Yeah, I actually was like, oh, okay. And then the lights went out and I kind of forgot about it, but it was like, that's interesting.
And especially as great as Sol is, like still a rookie to this. Taking this move.
True. We saw Joe do it again though, didn't we? He was allowed to do it again.
I don't know if we did.
I think so.
I can't.
I block out his Karrion Kross era.
Yeah,
at least I tried to. So
I don't remember him. Maybe he did it to Kross. I don't.
I feel like he did.
Maybe he did it to Kross, but he didn't on main roster. I'm pretty sure.
Right. Well, he was in a poncho on main roster for most.
You'll never let that go. It was fucking Storm. You stand out there and get soaked. You're going to be there.
I love him.
You're like, I'm just about to sit through a 5-hour show. God forbid I like to stay dry for that.
I love Samoa Joe. I'm just like, for me, that's a big part of the day. He was.
Remember when Joe tried to not get wet? Like, come on now.
Love it. I'll never let it go. I love Joe though. So it's interesting seeing the muscle buster. And then the lights went out. It's like 2 good matches that we're getting going. I'm like, all right, like.
But also, it's Rosemary and Wendy already have the.
They're already feuding with people.
Yeah.
Is this what it's like watching TNA? They're just always people fighting everybody and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. We see more dollhouses. Maybe that's what it is. I'm sick and tired of bracelets, dollhouses. Like, fuck, just fight each other. That's what I want. We see now Tatum and Lyra in the dollhouse that was like busted up, and they're playing with the broken dolls, and Tatum's trying to fix them. And she says like, oh, like, I'm sorry about things that happened with us, but I'm glad you're back. She says, I'm still mad at Shayna for attacking you on Raw, and I'm mad at Wendy and Rosemary, and they're playing with their dolls. And Lyra makes a joke like, hey, whatever, like, cope with your and which was a tag match between Rosemary against Tatum and Lyra, even though they just attacked Jordynne Grace.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't mind keeping Lyra and Tatum as a team, to be honest. I think Lyra, they've given her some opportunities on the main roster as a single star. You know, she had the big push in the Queen of the Ring tournament and stuff. I really like Lyra in ring. She doesn't necessarily light the world on fire when it comes to promos and segments and that kind of thing. And maybe doing the odd couple thing is a way to get something out of her. I actually thought her line was quite funny of, oh, that's cute, your coping mechanisms. But again, I thought this was interesting that she had a figure of Becky Lynch, who is
They said her name too.
They said Becky Lynch, who is not under WWE contract right now. And WWE quite often make a thing, you know, your contract ends and your name is never really heard of again. So I found that interesting.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily into this whole storyline, but it needs Lyra. Clearly, they were like, "Oh, we pulled you up too soon. Maybe we're not sure what you're doing yet." So, good way to get practice and reps and stuff. Because I feel like her acting is not necessarily the strongest.
Maybe these two can face Becky and Jade.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
because Lyra's been Lyra's been featured a fair bit on Raw. And stuff, so
that makes the most sense.
Yeah,
I think. All right. We've talked about some stuff I didn't like, but then they totally redeemed themselves by putting Funaki on my screen, because Funaki is here, SmackDown's #1 announcer, never forget. And he's in the room with Ava and Giulia, and they're talking about, Ava's like, oh, I hated this one line from Ava, just completely pissed me off. And develop you in like a superstar. Shut up. No. Yeah, is that what they did with you?
From the charisma vacuum.
What are you talking about? Just stop. And I don't even, why did they make that the line? She has to say to Giulia.
Yeah.
Come on. You couldn't lace. Come on. I'm sorry, Ava.
It's like Miz mentoring.
Oh, hilarious. Roxanne interrupts God to be like, oh, no red carpet for your new star? What's going on here? And Roxanne, you're not going to come in here and take over my division. And Funaki starts to translate. And Giulia's like, no, I got this. And says to her, I understand you, Roxanne. And don't worry, because I know you're just scared of me. And you should be. Roxanne is like, I'm not scared of you. And she says, well, we'll see in Chicago on the CW. So this match is set. Big matchup.
This should close the show, right?
We got two big matches, but this one seems like it's definitely gonna cook for sure.
Like I think this is gonna be a better match than Page and Trick. It's whether it's what the title change is gonna be, right? I assume one of these titles are going to change hands. Do you keep it on Ethan Page, the NXT title?
Yeah.
And is it? I mean, it's really early for Giulia to win this title, but I think you just do it. I think you just strap the rocket.
We could have two title changes on Chicago show.
Yeah, potentially.
Like, I wouldn't mind that at all. I like Roxanne here, like interrupting Ava, but also being like, Giulia, I don't care what you did.
Yeah,
I don't care what you did before. You're walking into my division now. But I think this could be an awesome match. But is Funaki just like the Japanese handler for? We've seen him do this a few times with other stars. Yep. So like the legit translator. He's got a job for life, I guess.
He'll be her Alex Abrahantes.
He's already better. He's already better than this. I love Funaki / Kai and Tai's theme song. Oh, fuck, so good. Love me some Funaki. Love that. That was my highlight. That was my highlight of the show, to be honest. Just seeing him. He's always so tanned and smiling all the time.
Yeah, he's a happy
love this guy. Great
loves
hair.
his life.
Speaking of someone who loves their life, Brooks Jensen walks up to Dion Lennox backstage, and he says, "Hey, what did you mean when you said that Sean Spears was gaslighting me?" I did appreciate this. This is whenever someone tells me I'm gaslighting them, I go, "Hey, what do you mean by that?"
I don't know what it means.
Yeah, you too, huh? Yeah, I've heard that one a few times.
I've Googled the definition of it quite a few times. I think I understand what gaslighting is. But
I do now.
But Brooks just doing, yeah, what?
I don't understand what you said to me there. I thought that was pretty good. He goes like, he tries to explain to him like, oh, like, you're listening to what he says, and he doesn't really explain to him what gaslighting means, but he says like he
gets interrupted.
Yeah, he's interrupted by Sean Spears, so Dion walks off. And Sean is like, hey, why are you talking to that guy? And he's like, oh, I was just trying to like get answers out of him. Everyone seems to think that you're controlling me or you're gaslighting me. And Sean's like, no. I'm not another guy trying to tell you what to think. I let you do things for yourself. And he's like, oh, okay. So they kind of walk off as then the camera pans. So we can unpack that briefly before the next part of this. But it's continuing the like, no, I'm doing what's best for you. And like,
And he brings up, unlike Fallon and Josh Briggs, who are always telling you what to
he's going to be like them.
Yeah,
come on. I'm figuring you're doing it yourself. Don't worry. The camera then.
I do like that they're playing though with, Brooks isn't just I'm a bad guy now. That he has got a bit of a dilemma. They're kind of going a bit of the Hangman thing with him. Right. A bit of just he's not a millennial. What is he? Is Gen Z?
Must be.
Is that anxious millennial? No, anxious Gen Z cowboy.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as well. But I feel that's what they're going with. Like he's trying to still, he's a young guy, and we've seen it. We've gone through the relationship stage, right, where he's trying to find a girlfriend, and now he's trying to just find himself. How to be a man, and who is he as a man, and who can he trust.
I definitely see them trying to not just do the like learning tree type storyline where it's like a little different, where it's like he's following this guy, but he's also like, ooh, should I be with you?
And I I actually thought Spears sounded quite good here because he did sound sincere. Right. I thought he didn't sound like your obvious like evil twisting mustache and I'm manipulating you. I thought he did come across sincere as well.
It's the chair flock. It's like Raven's flock, but it's Sean Spears.
Yeah.
Good stuff. The camera then pans and we see Eddie Thorpe with about 10 baddies here, just walking back with all these NXT superstars, the women of NXT, and they're all walking with him. And Ashanti, Adonis, Tahuti, he shows up and he goes like, "Oh, what are you doing? Oh, isn't it Mr. DJ Platonic?" Still just the greatest line from last week. I hope he continues to call him this. And he's like, "I don't care what you say. Like, there's no way." Because last week with some girl, DJ, you must be like doing this for all the babes. And he's like, "No, I do it for the music." He's like, "No, I don't believe you." Whereas now, I don't believe you at all. And all the girls kind of walk off, and Eddie's like, no. Like, what are you talking about? These are just my friends. So this is clearly going to lead to a match. I assume next week is something announced. But what's going on here with Eddie Thorpe hanging out with 10 women? And he's like, "Nah, they're just all my friends."
I don't know. I mean, he's in a string vest. He's got a nose ring,
hanging out with 10 girls, and he says he's not dating or seeing any of them.
Female friends,
I think we could read between the lines here of this storyline with Eddie Thorpe and all these women.
Yeah,
DJ Platonic.
He's probably more interested in Ashanti than these girls.
You said it, not me.
I don't know. I'm getting those vibes.
No, that's exactly. I think him being like, "No, they're just my friends." It's like, okay.
It is funny that I've seen it happen in real life where you're someone who's really into the locker room talk and that is just going off about women, don't you think? And this guy is clearly
I don't have any interest.
Not interested.
Actually, I'm not interested in any of these women. But I thought that was weird. But I imagine we're going to a match.
It's next week.
Yeah,
they announced it for next week.
Yeah, sure. DJ Platonic. Yeah, funny. Michaels is being back with Tyrese Halliburton. Do you know who that is?
Is he
5 seconds?
Tyreek's mate?
No, he's
Tyrese Halliburton.
He's a basketball
Halliburton.
player.
That's a good briefcase, isn't it?
Halliburton.
On Halliburton.
Samsonite.
On Halliburton, that's those ones that are really hard to break open.
But apparently some basketball players are going to NXT next week.
Great.
That's right.
No idea.
I don't know. Where's Sexy Red? How's she doing?
Sexy Red?
Yeah. Whatever happened to her?
I know, she popped up on my Twitter feed. Something she did on a live.
Oh, yeah. I saw that too. So that's where she is. Okay, got it. Red for president. Wasn't that her thing? Sexy for president? She was trying on NXT. Anyways,
Oh, yeah.
But she had the debate.
I'd vote for her over someone else. Yeah, for sure.
Not Sexy Orange.
No.
Next week on NXT, Lola Vice versus JC Jane, Rosemary and Wendy versus Tatum and Lyra, a contract signing between Ethan and Trick or Pete, and I guess Ashanti and Eddie, other things too. So second it up before we go to Chicago. But it's our main event, Last Man Standing. Trick Williams, winner, walks out the number one contender for the CW Network debut. Pete makes his entrance. I don't know if I've heard this chant before, but you are Butch.
You're Butch.
Now, if you were to chant this at the wrong person, it could be considered offensive, but to this guy, I think it works out.
Yeah.
You are Butch. You are Butch. Please don't clip that.
There was also a sign in the second row that said, "Whoop that Butch," but the guy sat in front, kept on standing up, so his head blocked the U, and you just saw URBTCH. No, whoop that,
whip that bitch.
Whoop that bitch. It's like, damn, how's that not been taken away?
I think eventually someone told the guy, "Yo, sit down."
Sit down. I mean, it was front row. Why are you standing, man?
So Trick comes out. It's real hype here, and these two go at it. They're kicking each other, they're punching each other, but we go to a break pretty early. When we come back, Trick's in control with the Booker T like side kick to the head, and then a huge kip up by Trick. He's just on fire here. Eventually, though, Pete grabs a chair and then tries to stamp onto Trick's hands onto the chair, but Trick gets out of the way and does a pop-up neck breaker onto the chair, but it's only a 6 count here. Remember, you have to be counted out by 10. Eventually, though, Pete gets some stairs and he starts throwing Trick onto them and then tries to rip the padding off and does, in fact, rip off, revealing the like cement floor, and then hits a DDT on Trick, but Trick manages to get up just at 9. Eventually, back in the ring, the bitter end is hit, but again, Trick gets up right at 9. Once again, Pete grabs a chair and goes to swing it at Trick, and Trick hits a huge cyclone boot to the chair, to the face. I mean, Pete's poor face looked hurt already, but this must have done it.
This did look like it bounced off his face.
That looked like it hurt.
Was probably the best thing about the match.
Yeah, for sure. Pete eventually gets up at 8, and then there's they're fighting all around. There's like a commentator desk part that they put against the side, and then Pete powerbombs Trick through that. But again, he gets up before the 10 count. They start to fight, and they go and climb up the perch here in NXT. And Pete grabs like a metal pole. He's hitting Trick with that. And then Pete tries to flex Trick off this thing. Trick gets out of it. And they had a great like tug of war here where you kept thinking that Pete was like, leaning over the edge of this thing. Eventually, though, it's Dunne who connects with a Russian leg sweep off the top of the perch. They both go crashing back first off this thing through 2 tables that have been set up there. Pretty crazy spot here. Thankfully, safely, hopefully.
Yep.
Falling backwards. Pretty safe, but at the same time, you never know. As both are down and the ref is counting a double count, Ethan Page runs out and he's looking at both of them and he's laughing, but he notices that Pete isn't moving, but Trick is. Trick is stirring at the 8 count, and at 9, Trick just barely gets up, so Ethan Page runs at him with the title, but Trick back body drops him right through the commentary desk as it explodes, and he gets to his feet. The ref counts out Pete Dunne. Therefore, Trick Williams is the last man standing and the number 1 contender for the title as he stands tall.
Yeah, I didn't really get into this until the end. I find last man standing matches really hard matches to be good because you don't really have those near falls. Pete did well, like I noticed with him, whereas normally you get the guy, it's around 7 and they're trying to stagger to his feet. Pete was doing it where he's flat on his back and then it would hit 9 and it would be like a flurry of adrenaline would just get him to his feet to really tease that 10. And I appreciated that. It's kind of what I got at earlier with the level of violence. It's really difficult to do a match like this, especially when just a few days ago we saw crazy shit in All Out. The stuff on the perch was cool. It was a cool finish to the match. I loved the actual getting on his feet on 9 right into the back body drop through the table. I thought the finish was great.
The timing too.
And I loved the shot they had, the camera shot on the perch, because it made it really high. And I almost wish they just stuck with this angle rather than cutting between the tables with the cloth over it and just have them kind of fall into the abyss almost.
Yeah. This is the same perch Vince did the trust fall off, right? Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought the level of violence in it for a last man standing match, the ones that have worked for me in the past, I always think back to Jericho and Triple H from Fully Loaded, I think it was, which was a awesome match. But in general, I find it a really hard gimmick.
I hate it. Yeah.
Be good.
I don't like usually this gimmick. It's like, okay, boxing, 10 count, whatever, but it takes a lot because in a normal match, dudes get up and walk around or dudes are laying there forever. It's like a little, in all the years we've had it, no one's been able to make them like more exciting. So it's like, maybe that's a sign that it's a tough one to make kind of exciting, but they did their best. I'm kind of with you. Like maybe that boot spot with the chair was fine.
We've seen AEW be successful with it with the Texas Death, haven't we?
Yeah, even that is like a silly gimmick where it's like the 10 count. You got to pin them and then it's a 10 count, right?
That's the classic Texas Death.
Yeah.
But the AEW one is just
the
a last man standing or submission. Which,
like, don't get me wrong, there has been some good ones, but they're never like the best thing you've
and
ever
especially
seen.
when it's sanitized like this, it's really difficult to buy. And like the stun at the end was cool.
Yeah.
Overall, I was just like, I way preferred their first match.
Yeah, I kind of still been like, I didn't get the real match from you because it was this stipulation. A cool spot at the end, and definitely hitting the backdrop on Ethan and everything was great. And obviously, Trick versus Ethan Page is the big match for Chicago, and like that, either that or Roxy is the main event. One of them's got to open the show and one of them to close the show. Yeah. Either way, I think we could walk out with 2 new champions. I don't know, call me crazy, but I think it wouldn't be the worst thing to have Trick win that back. Right now, you can always win it eventually, but I think it would be a good story. I'm not quite sure because if not, who else do we have?
More heels,
exactly.
I guess, at the moment. There?
Pete could then go after Trick again.
Pete can go after Trick. Ridge, once he's done with Chase U, he's
Ridge,
someone who can
Wes, which is a little weird as a heel, but I don't know. It could freshen things up, but I'm kind of okay with either. I think Giulia should win easily over Roxanne, but either way, I think this is the right move for Ethan and Trick. But that's not where we end NXT. As we go backstage, Ava, doing her best again, on the phone. She says to Stevie and Stone, I just got off the phone with CM Punk, and he's so excited about Chicago on the CW that he's going to show up next week on NXT because he has something very special in mind for Chicago, and he's going to announce it next week. As NXT goes off the air. But what could be the secret announcement, special announcement for Chicago?
Yeah.
AJ Lee?
I don't know. He tweeted out something as well, didn't he?
Was it the bracelet?
I'm trying to see. Oh, he's actually got a new Twitter. I didn't realize that. He got rid of his... I just went on his Twitter and it's still his AEW stuff. So he's got a WWE Twitter here.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I can't find the tweet. He tweeted something about the news about Giulia and Roxanne, and he's like, that sounds awesome, and there's something I'd like to add to that, or something along those lines.
Okay.
So, yeah, what do you think?
A new title?
Another one?
Like a new, change looks for that title? Or
okay. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. Again, I think if you're bringing in AJ Lee, I would think it's on main roster. But they are putting a lot behind this show. Yeah, I wonder. Leave your... What do you think? What's CM Punk cooking? What's he announcing? Someone said Mae Young's hand. What another Mae Young classic could be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's just going to announce that.
Yeah. He hangs around with the women a lot.
He was in that training Cleveland session with Shawn Michaels when they got caught saying like, "Hey, we got a lot of attractive people here," and he's like, "You know what? We need the Mae Young Classic."
Yeah,
Mae Young Classic coming back. I'm not sure, but we'll see next week because CM Punk will be on NXT to give this announcement. But yeah, that was NXT. It had some ups and downs for me. It wasn't necessarily the best wrestling, but they did some cool stuff. We had, the kind of two surprises with Jordynne Grace and Sol Ruka and Hammerstone and Oba. The matches didn't necessarily deliver, but it wasn't anything bad. And the only thing kind of, I guess, annoying me is maybe the too much of the spooky Wendy Chu Rosemary stuff, but nothing necessarily that's like, I think we're just really trying to ramp up for CW, and I get that.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty loaded show, but for me, the matches didn't quite hit. Like none of them hit as much as I was hoping they would.
Yeah.
But quite angle heavy. Some cool surprises. There's still a bit of a buzz with NXT.
Yeah, like we had Giulia's debut. That was a big deal. Like I know, obviously going up against the debate, but I think a lot of people were interested in seeing Giulia
and announcing Punk for next week. That's
pretty big too. Plus, we had the Bloodline. Like we had a lot of big stuff that's happening, but maybe the matches didn't necessarily connect. But we know going forward, like CW got the street fight, Wentz and Wes, and the two big title matches, and now Jade and Bianca showing up, and then Ms. TV and Punk, and like they're really trying to throw everything. Fuck it, the Undertaker will show up again. Just fuck it, just because, and everything. So who knows? But yeah, it wasn't my favorite episode, but we're going in the right direction.
Okay, that's what we thought. Let's go to our Facebook page to see what you thought. You can join the Poisonrana Facebook group by just searching Poisonrana and asking some of our very tough questions to join the group.
Yeah, you gave away the answers recently, so people started signing up and writing the right ones again.
Yeah, I'll let you know again. Ralph, Paulie, and Porn Out. They're the answers.
Right. We go to our first comment here from Fire Frank, who writes in, spirited episode tonight. Giulia is here and looking strong. Duke might be gone, but Ridge's banger theme is back, so it was all worth it. And Pete and Trick tore the house down. The CW debut is looking super stacked. Can't wait.
Spirited episode.
Giulia.
Spirited
away.
And we go to Magan, who said, NXT felt more high profile than normal with the new Bloodline coming through. Hammerstone Femi was a fun hoss fight. Come to think of it, pretty dope that two MLW alumni got a taste of WWE's brighter lights. Giulia versus Chelsea Green was a decent sample size of the former's style. I'm glad her Northern Lights bomb is staying, and I bet Giulia's physicality will be modified just enough so it won't feel bastardized. Nice to see Jordynne Grace again, and her v Sol Ruka was fun up until the nightmare finish, which served as a potential vehicle for Victory Road on Friday. The Chicago premiere is filling up quick with the three big matches, Punk being the special guest, Miz, Jade and Bianca possibly defending the women's tag titles. It's shaping up to be a takeover level event. It'll be covered on In the Dark.
Well, it'll be covered on this show. But...
okay. Victory Road will be covered. He did the asterisk thing, but
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
We go to Glenn Zadra, who writes, big fan.
Say that again.
You don't listen to the detox. Deep with Glenn Zadra. Glenn Zadra. He writes in.
I like that.
I never watch NXT live. The last 40 minutes had no interest in the presidential debate. Thea Hale looks like a day one acting student. Sol Ruka looks like a seasoned vet. Jordynne Grace is always great. Really kooky bullshit. Going. All cap. Was ass and always. DJ Platonic is a mother. Reese Halliburton is NXT super cool. I know Braden is going to say something about basketball not being a real sport, but he's right. Halliburton grew up like 30 minutes from here, and I'm a big fan. All right, I guess it's a big deal.
You don't think basketball is a real sport?
Probably. We say that a lot about.
I say that about baseball.
We say it about real sports like all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's kind of the thing, isn't
it? He continues. Pete Dunne, but he always comes to the ring dressed like a 45-year-old divorced woman trying to hook up with a 25-year-old man at the bar, pick attached. It's just Pete Dunne with his busted eye in his entrance, so that doesn't help.
He does.
Yeah,
he looks like he's going to speak to the manager.
And Trick Willie's ceiling is so high, I can't wait to see where he goes in wrestling. Thank you, Glenn.
Sick.
Good points there. We have one more.
Oh,
You want me to read it? You closed yours.
you go for it.
Manny from has been amazed at how 2-hour show. The show really focused on making the CW debut feel like a big event. Enjoyed Soul and Jordynne for the time we got. We need to see Andy versus Grace. The match was okay, but I'm sure her match with Roxanne will be a clinic. Now on to the real main event of tonight, the first tribal chief, Jacob NXT Alexander. In the words of Fatu, Godzilla versus King Hell. You ain't Godzilla on both. Thank you, Emmanuel. I'm assuming they had some matchups in MLW.
Yeah,
and so forth.
Didn't Hammerstone beat Fatu for the title
before he left?
I think so.
Right, yeah. So there you go. Thank you, everyone, for writing in there. Appreciate it. And
Thank
again,
you all.
Join that Facebook group and page and follow us on the socials. So there you go. That was up next. That was us talking about some NXT. We do this every Tuesday. In fact, we will be back here on Post Wrestling next Tuesday, 10 p.m., 10:15 p.m. Eastern time, as we'll talk about everything, including CM Punk and so much more. We also go live over on Poisonrana, and I believe we'll be going live this Sunday at 2 p.m. chatting all about some Raw, some SmackDown, some AEW, and maybe a bit about the teaser for the Vince doc.
Oh, yeah.
And some Maple Leaf Wrestling. I got a lot of things that we should talk about other than NXT. So join us 2 p.m. Audio out after that on Sundays. Perfect for your Monday commute. So search Poisonrana, YouTube, or your podcast app and hit that subscribe. But if you like us even more, patreon.com/Poisonrana. Sign up, get all the podcasts that we do because we love to podcast.
We love it so much.
And we love you. We love you very, very much. At Poisonrana Pod for everything else. And postwrestling.com. What a team we got here at Post Wrestling. Shout out Andrew Thompson, John Pollock, Wei Ting. You guys have been killing it with so much wrestling coverage and everything. And we're very proud to be a part of that whole team.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I myself, Braden Herrington, Twitter, Instagram, at the Brady.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And they're eating our dogs.
Ahoy!